Alrighty guys, welcome back to another one. This time we're doing some more buckshot. This is Federal's Powershok 3-inch double-aught buck. It's a 15 pellet load. This says maximum buckshot, whatever that means. 1210 FPS. These are a lot of fun to shoot and they actually pattern pretty well. Made in the USA product. In case you didn't know, not all Federal shells are made in the USA. Some of them are made in Italy. Their 24 and 32 gauge shells are made in France or Italy one. I can't remember, but they do offer those two gauges, which is cool. I believe this is Federal's standard 3-inch 15 pellet double-aught load. Nothing special here. I did get the value pack though, 15 rounds. I've had these since 2019 or 2021. I sent my wife to Walmart with $15 back then, if you believe it or not, and I asked her to get me a box of whatever buckshot she could find, and this is what they had. Yep, $15 would get you a 15 round box of these back then. Oh well. Let's get you a better view of the box. There's the warnings. Top of the box. More warnings. Yeah. Now this is actually pretty cool here. They have a buckshot chart here, showing what the size is in inches and millimeters. Number 4 buck, 24 cal, then we have 3 buck, 25, and so on. This is double-aught buck, so in theory it should be 33 caliber, but as we know, a lot of times factory rounds, they don't use 33 cal. They use 32 cal, or even 31 sometimes, actually even 30. But these are buffered, and, well, there's the bottom of the box. I forgot to show that in case it matters. Again, if you want to read anything, pause it. Look at these. Now, these are all pretty bad crimps. No, these are not hand loads. These are right out of the box. That one on the right here especially is pretty bad. But going off the way these crimps look, I think it's safe to say these shells are pretty dang full. You can see buffer on that one right there, actually, and pretty well all of them. But that is not a good crimp at all. It is obviously lopsided as can be. That one's dished in. But this is buckshot. They can be hard to crimp with a fold crimp. But yeah, guys, this is... that's some full shells right there. That crimp is barely held shut. Those crimps are barely held shut, I meant to say. You can see in this angle right here, this shell is obviously lopsided, which doesn't hurt anything. They still cycle fine in autoloaders and pumps. No big issue there. And I will say, these actually do pattern really well. We have fired, I don't know, 5 or 6 of these, and they do pattern well. I have no idea how these are loaded. I've never taken one apart, but this is what the shell looks like. Is my camera even in focus? I'm not sure. It's kind of hard to see out here. The light is very bright, but looks about like any regular Federal shell, 12 gauge anyway. So, since these have a fold crimp on it, barely, I'll be using a pair of needle nose pliers and wire cutters to open that up and seeing how they put these together. So turns out the reason this one is lopsided is because the pellets are stacked unevenly. If you guys can tell, not really sure if you can, but the pellet on the right there is up quite a bit higher than the one on the left. You can actually see a third one way down there on top. Tons of buffer in this, which you would expect. This is buckshot. Buckshot rounds typically have a ton of buffer. But nothing out of the norm so far. Let's play the game of, does this have a paper or fiber base wad? Again, I do not know. So I have the shot and buffer placed into a empty hull here. Now I have the hull zeroed out. If they're using 33 cal, this should be right at 1 7/8 ounces of lead payload weight. And let's call it 1.82 with the buffer, just to play on the safe side here. I have not measured this yet. This looks like 33 cal to me. Let's see. Under 1 3/4 ounces. Well, that's obviously not 33 cal. Wonder what it is. Might be 32, could be even 31. But obviously not 33 cal. Well guys, I gotta say, I didn't expect this at all, but we actually have a shot cup in there. That is the first 15 pellet double-aught buckload I've seen, factory anyway, that uses some sort of a shot cup. That's pretty good on Federal's part, and that explains why these pattern pretty well. Now, only 8 sit in it, or a 10, my bad, but yeah, 10 sit in that, 5 out. Not bad at all. What is that I spy in there? Is that an X12X gas seal? It'd be pretty cool if it is. Sure enough, guys, it was an X12X gas seal. That is the first factory load from a major company anyway I've seen use an X12X gas seal. That is pretty cool. Now, there's no form of cushion wad in this. It is just powder, X12X, and then the shot cup. No cushion wad at all. I guess that would explain why these kick so hard and why we enjoy them so much. One thing I want to show you with the haul is, well, let me get it lined up here. There we go. You can see the crimp is very obviously slanted. I don't think this haul was ever flush to begin with. Oh well, doesn't really matter in the end. Looks like we have 40 grains of whatever this may be. Does that look familiar to any of you guys? Sort of looks like a little gun. And that high of a charge would make sense for that payload. Probably isn't little gun though. And today's vote goes to the plastic base wad guessers. That is a plastic base wad with a 209A primer. It is pink. If you remember, I opened up one and it had a 16 gauge shell. It had a blue sealant over the primer. This one's pink. So without the buffer, those 15 pellets weigh 1 5/8 ounces. Or hovering right around it. The wind is messing with the scale a little bit, but you can see it's basically 1 5/8 ounces. In grains, that would be 700, and let's call it 710 grains. Why not? The buffer's right here. Now these hulls do weigh exactly the same. Let's see how much weight we have in buffer. 45 grains of buffer, let's call it that. Ounces, 1/10 of an ounce. Almost 1/8 of an ounce. So here's 15 pellets of my 31 cal right here, single lot buck. It's 1.56 ounces. Let's see what 15 pellets of 32 cal weighs. Again, single lot. Here's 15 pellets of 32 cal single lot. We have 1.68, 1.69. Again, the wind is messing with it a little bit. It seems Federal is using probably 31.5 cal. If you remember, what came out of the Federal shell was 1.62. So right in between the 31 and 32 cal, making it probably 31.5 is what they're using. And here it is put back together. You can see it is no longer lopsided. All I did was re-crimp this on my reload all, that's it. The crimp is actually even now. It's deeper set, but yeah, I did just re-crimp that on my reload all, and it does look better. And here's what it looks like after hitting it for a quick second with the Guide BN2. Not perfect, but a lot better than what it was. I might do it to the rest of them. But there is the Federal Powershok 3-inch 15 pellet double aught. Not at all what I expected, to be honest, but pretty dang interesting. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one.